I'm Nolan Clemmons. Today I'm going to be telling you a bit about chatbots and how they can be applied for social media marketing. Real quick, if you want to follow along, either in real time or on your own time, how many of you have the Messenger app on your phone? So if you open that, then you open the camera and hold on the screen. And we could do this at the end, but if you're interested in trying it out, you scan this code and it'll take you straight there. So I'll give you guys a few minutes, or I can come back to this, I guess. But a bit about myself is that Clemmons IO, that is a growth marketing and lead generation agency. I'm also on the Forbes Dallas Business Council, and I've been in a variety of publications, primarily marketing focused. So how many of you have a general idea of what a chatbot is? Okay, so quite a few of you, which is good. So there's several types of chatbots. Most of what you probably interacted with are web plugins, like Intercom or Drift on websites, and those can be anything from frequently asked questions to support or even sales and marketing. Next, you have how many of you use Slack or Discord? Okay, excellent. Yeah, so awesome. So you can program custom plugins to be used on those platforms as well. What we're going to be talking about today, though, is the Facebook Messenger platform and bots on there. And what's so special about Facebook Messenger? Well, A, it's part of Facebook. B, it has, now, when I looked this number up, back in 2017, it had probably gone to 1.5 billion active users on the Facebook Messenger platform. And the main advantages of this is that it combines the instantaneous nature that you find with instant messaging and text messaging or SMS with the rich media of social media and email. So you get the best of both worlds, and really what bots are about, because a lot of people focus on the artificial intelligence component, which in my opinion is not quite there yet. It's not fully automated. A human has to tell the machine what to say to people, but it's conversational marketing. So you're having a conversation with what may appear to be a real person, but it's automated so that it doesn't require as much resources as having a team for customer support. You can still partially have human elements in there. And essentially it acts as a tesseract. I don't know how many Wrinkle of Time fans we have, but essentially that means default space. And essentially the way traditional online marketing funnels work is that they have you, they might do some paid traffic, and they bring you to a landing page, and you fill out a form, and hopefully that form doesn't have too many fields, because the more fields you add to the form, the lower the conversion rate will be. Or that you provide their email to get a free ebook or a PDF guide or something, and then they send you that email. So just in those few steps, it's very easy for potential customers to fall out of that funnel, and it can be hard from an analytics standpoint to tell where did they drop off. The Facebook Messenger chatbots allow you to fold that, where you can do most, if not all, of those steps within Facebook Messenger. And the other bonus is that so far they've had superior open and click-through rates than email. And email is still, as old as it may be, it's still one of the most powerful marketing channels, so that's saying a lot. Here's an example of how a funnel would look for a restaurant client that I built a chatbot for, Pokebop. I don't know if anyone's been there, but they have 2 shops here in Dallas. But you can obtain subscribers or users of the chatbot organically from your Facebook page. When they click on the send message button, they press the get started, and it starts whatever sequence you have in place. You can run Facebook ads with the Messenger objective, which can be quite ineffective and a cost-effective way to acquire subscribers and thus customers from that. And you can also have a Facebook Messenger plugin on your website. So there's a variety of sources, and within that sequence, there's multiple things that we want them to do, but the main point, the goal is we want them to buy something. In this case, they can either order to go or delivery. And in the case of retail businesses and restaurants, they can drop out completely and just show up to the restaurant. And that's actually one of the challenges that all retail businesses have. attribution isn't completely there, which is why they rely on offers in order to tell who, you know, what's working. And so a comparison, like I said, the open rate. So if you can see the top box, those are 2 email campaigns we did back in June and August, and those had 30 and 50% open rates, which is actually pretty good as far as email marketing goes. But then you look at the broadcast that we did, that ended up having an open rate of about 90%, which is triple of the first one and almost double of the other one. And then the click-through rate was about half of that, which is 45%, which is insane from a marketing perspective. So at this point, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. I mean, there are some restrictions that we can go over, but oh yeah.
All right, thank you very much for your presentation. We will open the floor up to questions, but the first question is always, what can we as a community do for you?
So if you know, I mean, how many of you are marketers by trade, or you own a business at least? So if you know someone that's relying on an online marketing funnel, or if they are interested in chatbots, I mean, you should really just ask them about it and see if it makes sense to them, or you know, or what I'm asking for is information to see what their opinions on it are, what other marketing channels are they using, to see if it would be effective. Is anyone getting it?
It was hard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Questions, please raise your hand and we'll bring you the mic.
So specifically, what do you consider an open rate when you compare the email marketing to messenger marketing?
So in that case, there's some restrictions to it. So email's pretty laissez-faire, same way with text. With messenger, so there's a thing called the 24+1 rule, where in a sense, you can send a user as many messages within a 24-hour window. After that, you only get one promotional message. Now, you can do updates to subscription messaging as much as you want, but so when we send the +1 promotional broadcast, which can be months later, depending on the thing, that's what I'm referring to, the open rate. Because people get a notification, and really the main advantage of it is that they're on their phone. So, you know, for the past couple of years, there's been a revolution in businesses focusing on the mobile experience first. And particularly for retail, that's a must-have. What were they doing 10 years ago? You know, they'd send you, if it was your birthday, they'd send you a coupon to your email for you to print out, which isn't the most convenient thing. Thanks to phones, you can open that up. But the other component to this, which I didn't necessarily cover, is that using mobile wallets, how many have the KeyPass app on your iPhone? So what they use, like if you have a ticket to a sporting event, you can make your own KeyPass for your own business, which can be quite powerful at times.
Good morning, thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
So would you talk a little bit more about how your business is going to make money, scale up, the core of the value proposition, and kind of your game plan for the coming years in terms of building this business? That'd be great to hear.
Oh, so thank you. That's a good question. So in terms of you know, clients that have a need or that want the value of it, there's a certain set fee for building the bot. However, that's not what I'm focused on. I'm focused on building long-term value for them, because it can be a good way for them to get new customers, but the real value lies in giving them the ability to retain customers over a course of time, or otherwise known as retention. So I forget what the statistic is, but if someone buys something or goes somewhere 3 or 4 times, they're a customer for life. How many of you go to a business at least once a month or regularly? Yeah. So you know, how much? The real question is for the return on the investment, because there's a cost to software and technology involved in this process, and then the other cost is a service. So for businesses, it can be pretty effective for them to get a return on both of those investments including Facebook, cost of Facebook ads, of course. If we can quantify how much does a seat at a table at a restaurant cost them, or if there's multiple people, how much does a table cost them, and how much do they have to pay for that? And as long as the cost that they had to pay for that is lower, then it's effective as a marketing channel.
All right, we have a question in the front. Thanks. How are you marketing your business to what companies are you typically targeting? Are you taking a niche and focusing on restaurants? And how are you marketing yourself?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So restaurants are, because I'm not having to reinvent the wheel each time. I think that may start becoming my niche, but another niche is realtors. And for them, it's the ability for potential customers to look at multiple houses within the chat window and not having to go to a website or really just pull their Zillow listings in there if they're selling houses or they're helping people buy houses. So that's one thing. And then as far as how am I marketing, using a combination of content, my website comes up. Actually, I've changed that. I should have left that up. But yeah, here's my contact information. So content marketing, that's something I've invested in and I'm starting to reap the benefits of. And then the other things, my specialty is outbound lead generation. So getting a list of restaurants, in this case, qualifying them. What is their price point? Are they high end? In that case, those are the ones I want to target. I approach them directly, find their email, find their phone number. And the other thing about specifically this is that it's kind of a blue ocean. In the sense that not everyone has a chatbot. And I can instantaneously go to your Facebook page, press the chat window, and if I don't see it get started, I know you don't have a chatbot yet. And so I ask you, why don't you want superior open rates to email? And ask them that to make sure they understand the value.
I'm just thinking right now that you're on your own. Are you on your own, or are you growing?
I have done that. I don't have 8 arms, so I can't do that on my own. But I do have a few people that I'm working with. Some here in Dallas, some overseas. And this is kind of an open secret, but for some tasks, particularly that are on the computer, virtual assistants are amazing because the cost is, let's say $5 an hour, which is below what the minimum wage is here. But in those countries, you can get a pretty good skill level for that amount. And then the time zone arbitrage is another benefit because when I'm about to go to bed, they're just now waking up, and so I give them tasks. They can complete them. When I wake up, they're almost wrapping up. So it works pretty well.
So what type of restrictions are you running into with Facebook?
Well, so if you guys remember the controversy they had with a few months ago, one consequence of that is they closed down submissions to the Messenger platform for bots. Fortunately, I already had the pages connected to that, so it didn't affect me. But they had a moratorium on that, so that was one. Another restriction. This hasn't happened to me, but there's multiple vendors for building Facebook chatbots, and they probably broke a rule or something, but they tried to log in and all their bots were gone, especially ones that they were building for clients. So having a contingency plan for that, that's key. Another one is just a restriction, the 24+1 rules, because they don't want necessarily people sending out messages for free. They don't want people spamming, because then people will turn off their notifications and won't be effective, and a few other things. So fitting within those rules, and one way is to be indirect about it. Like, have you heard about our new menu item? So you're asking a question. Once they engage, the 24, that whole cycle starts over. Yes, asking them a question, they're going to say yes to, or it's hard to say no. So it's kind of like double dribbling in basketball, essentially. Once you're out of your dribble, you have to shoot or pass it. And some people drop out of the funnel, but it's relatively easy to get them to re-engage.
Nolan, you made a statement saying that AI, somehow you kind of dissociated, if you will, between chatbots and AI, and in my mind they're really closely related. So could you elaborate on that statement you made that it's too early to talk about AI? Because I think at the core of chatbots is some kind of an intelligence that you have to have there so that you can replace a human reacting to certain triggers, if you will.
Yes, so until, one subset of artificial intelligence is machine learning. Until all the machines figure out basic human interaction, you're going to, the people that like me that build bots, we're going to have to tell them when someone mentions this keyword, like let's say vegan. I say, do you have a question? They ask a question, oh, were you talking about our dietary options? And then you walk them through that. So you have to think in advance of what people are going to ask about and how you can train your bot to be able to detect that. Right now, you can use keywords, and they could be saying something the exact opposite of what you programmed it to do, so it's always an issue. But we'll just have to wait and see, let the technology progress. But once it does get to that point, it's going to be amazing, because some customers, they're not going to be able to tell the difference, which can be good for businesses and marketers, but as a consumer, maybe it won't be. So that's an issue we're going to learn.
The flip side of that, what you're saying, today's state of the art can be frustrating to some
consumers, because if whoever developed the chatbot, if they're not thorough enough to envision all of these scenarios, actually that can backfire more or less. And I'm speaking from experience. I mean, I'm not going to name the airline. It's a European airline that I had a bad experience with in Dubai, and I was coming back here, and I couldn't talk to anybody but a chatbot, and actually they would never understand what I was talking about. So what you're saying, if I understand you correctly, is because we don't have a perfect AI system and a machine learning system in place, we're going to have to rely on very, very effective chatbot developers who can envision all scenarios possible. Is that a fair statement? And is that a byproduct of that, or a side effect of that, is frustration that you may leave with some customers?
I mean, it's mostly accurate. I mean, the quick solution is you have an option where if they don't understand the question to ask, do you want to talk to a human? And they press that button, and then someone gets a notification. Because really, it acts, kind of as a filter, so that not all the support reps are getting inundated with requests. So to answer your question, that's the first solution. But yes, as we learn, because the Facebook Messenger for bots on the Facebook Messenger platform that's only been out for maybe a year or two. So as we learn about each business type, whether that's airlines, restaurants, or whatever the need is, people figure out best practices and what to do in those situations.
We have time for one more question. I'll take the opportunity to ask the final question. Where do you see chatbots going in the future? May it be AI or VR, whatever trendy keywords you want to throw out there.
Well, one of the biggest advantages, I didn't mention this, is this platform called Zapier. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. Okay, so it allows other platforms to connect their APIs to each other, which is what I use a lot. Is if I collect their email, if they say I'd rather get an email than a chatbot, doing that. But that's one area that apps can talk to other apps. The second one is that I'd like to see personally is more voice, vocal component to chatbots. Because what if I'm driving? For example, me driving on my way over here, I don't necessarily want to look at my phone, for safety issues. But if I could verbally ask, hey, what's the best way to get here? Should I take the tollway or 75? And for that to be, in some cases, some apps may already be at that point. But especially for businesses, like you ask Google Maps, where can I find pizza? And Google showed this at one of their things. They had a robot talk to someone on the phone to book a table or order a pizza. So giving the restaurants the ability on their side to be able to interface with sophistications like that is going to be huge, in my opinion. So thank you guys.